Hello, everyone, and welcome to Weymouth After Dark, the talk show for Massachusetts and the world. For those of you just joining us after ICW Wrestling, the conclusion to the Vic Steamboat versus Tony Atlas match will be on next week, but thank you for staying with us.
In the next 13 weeks.
In the next 13 weeks.
After Essence.
I'm Frank, your host, and I am, as always, joined on this side by Joe, who is now declaring himself to be a master of the unknown.
Yes. See, because it says it in the little words down here.
Joe,
so that means it must be true.
I read something, a comprehensive study that has just come out, just published, that said that Weymouth was the 6th most likely town in the United States to suffer an amphibious attack by a giant amphibian. It is the second most.
Apparently, it was the number one most likely city in the United States to suffer a sentence with kind of redundant words.
The second most likely on the eastern seaboard to be attacked by a giant amphibian.
What about Quincy?
No, number 40. So there's a confluence of several things going on in Weymouth. Its nearness to the water, nearness to several major highways. It has been considered one of the more likely towns in the United States to be attacked by a giant amphibian. So later today on this program, on this broadcast, we are going to be joined by an amphibious expert, Nicole, who is going to talk to us about some of the ways that we can prepare for such things and prevent such things. Because terrorizing though it is when your town is attacked by a monster, if you know certain techniques, your chances of survival are greatly increased.
It's all about preparation. You know, like the Boy Scouts used to say, be prepared. You know, are you ready to get involved? Be prepared. Are you ready to take the lead? You know, because scouting today is about more than just tying knots and baking cookies and all this stuff, all right? Scouting trains future frogmen, okay? Scouting trains future tires of knots. Scouting trains future wearers. You wear those little, you know, that little vest that has like all your Urban Ranger merit badges on it? That gets you ready to work at one of them Walmarts or one of those as a greeter wearing their smock vest with all the little I've been here 5 months awards on it. So scouting trains the future.
And there you have it. But folks, I'd like to talk to you a little bit.
Snoopy was a Cub Scout too for a while. You remember that? And he had all like the wood stocks, and they would follow him.
Folks, I'd like to talk to you a little bit today
camping on the doghouse
about television. All right. The medium from which I reach you right now. Television has been around almost 100 years. And let's consider where it stands right now. Many of you watching this on cable television now probably have hundreds or thousands of channels, although many of them are just music. In Eastern,
and most of them stink. Let's face it. Most of them stink. There's only 3 good things on nowadays, besides like sports, right? You got Mad Men, you know, you got Ed and Eddie, and they don't even show that much when you got the Whale Wars, and that's really about it. And let's face it, we only watch Whale Wars because of all them Australian women on the boat. Because if I was on that ship, I would not be wasting my time throwing stink bombs, you know, at a whaling vessel.
In Eastern Europe, before the fall of communism,
I'd be checking out the Sheilas.
Many countries had only 2 television stations. They broadcast only for a few hours a day.
And they showed things like art, ballet, classic literature, and propaganda news. Now with capitalism, they show bad reruns of Mexican soap operas and propaganda news that's now paid for by a corporate sponsor.
But folks, we are reaching you through the power of cable access television. Some people say cable access television is a dinosaur, but I say it is in fact a strong democratic tool that can reach out to you, that is not funded by any company or any agenda, but instead is a legitimate voice of a neighborhood, of a community, reaching out to something larger. And that's what we like to do with you in Weymouth After Dark. That television's been in your house now for a long time. You have other mediums like the internet and so forth reaching out to you as well. Are they a welcome voice, or are they a stranger intruding in your bedroom where your wife sleeps, where your kids play with their toys? Well, here in Weymouth After Dark, we are like a friend knocking on the door, occasionally borrowing a few things from you, but mostly here to help you. And in Weymouth After Dark, we've tried through the seasons to assist you in ways to make your life better through a moral, instructive, and educational broadcast. Well, you know what, folks? It's
I was just queuing it up.
We're all in this together, folks. If we were to be invaded by a giant lizard, by a giant turtle, by a giant frog, and it could happen.
Well, can I just say something?
Yes.
Is this a giant reptile or a giant amphibian invasion?
I think in either
We're gonna
case
be
you're going to
attacked
be
by a
in
big-
trouble.
by a
I don't
big
think you're
mud puppy or
necessarily going to be
something?
warming up the Linnaean system when this thing
I
is
am.
ripping your town to shreds.
I am,
All right?
because you know if you can't be truly prepared until you understand taxonomy.
Stay with us, folks, and later today
You know what
we're
I'm
going to
saying?
help you prepare for that monster attack. But first, Joe has a little presentation that he'd like to share with us. As usual today, he'd like to tell us about some new discovery, some new thought that he
Something
has
important,
with
you
the
know?
viewers. So I surrender the microphone over to him, folks. Lend him your ears and let's see what he has to say.
And I'll show you my wares. You know what I'm saying? And like Simple Simon said to the peculiar purple pie man, you're going to enjoy this. Okay? You know, folks, I was watching recently. Recently, I was watching The Monsters. And while watching a rerun of this classic 1960s piece of a televisional feast, I was struck, struck by the resemblance between Grandpa Monster and Martin Van Buren, 8th president of this country. And I think that it's only apropos that in Martin Van Buren we finally had a monster president. You know, because God knows we already had 2 of them from the Adams family. Of course, I speak of the 2nd president, John Adams, and the 6th president, John Quincy Adams. Now, if you're unlucky enough to live on the South Shore, or indeed if you live in the greater Boston area in general, you can't help but think about these 2 Adams family presidents and not be reminded of the city of Quincy, Massachusetts. Okay? For those of you who don't know, people watching overseas in Russia and all that were on there, Quincy is the town just southeast of Boston. Okay? Named for the Quincy family, I believe a grandfather of John Quincy Adams. And the self-styled city of presidents because of these 2 presidents. It also claims to be the birthplace of the American dream, which is, of course, absolutely bogus. You know, because Dusty Rhodes is from Texas, so. You know, but the city of Quincy always faces a problem. Okay, it's dying out. All right, you think about it. Frantic Framers is gone now. You know what I'm saying? They've knocked down the Tuxedo place, used to be next to it. Tasso's Pizza burnt down like 10 years ago, and it's still just sitting there boarding up. You know, as well as Fancy Nails right beside it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's a lot of things. The Child World closed back in like '92 or something.
I don't want to say ghost town.
I look at this.
it's in the air.
This is how I look at it. The Quincy Center. It's like, you remember Final Fantasy? There's that town that's just rotting away. Melmond. But Quincy Center is like Melmond. Okay, but we need a Light Warriors to revive those orbs and revitalize the city of Quincy. Thank you for not doing anything distracting, Rob. That's just an on-the-set joke, folks. But anyway, the only way we can revitalize Quincy, commerce in Quincy, okay, tourism to Quincy and Quincy Center, is to make Quincy a hip. We need a new Quincy, a Quincy for today, a hipper Quincy. And
Before it's too late and
Yeah,
not
the only way we can
effective
do
too
this is by, de-emphasizing this Addams family connection, and instead rededicating the city to Quincy. Okay, Quincy MA should become Quincy ME. All right, Quincy Medical Examiner. You may remember this classic show where Jack Klugman played a mystery-solving medical examiner. Solved crimes that everybody thought were closed cases. It ran from, I think, 76 to 83, something like that, and it was a classic.
Just around the corner.
It was a classic, and of course, it's still watched all over the world today, along with Us and Essence and those Mexican soap operas that they show in Russia. And I think that if Quincy is really going to step into the 21st century, they're going to have to update things to Quincy. And I'll prove to you right now, I'll demonstrate you why Quincy ME, played by Jack Klugman, is actually more significant to today than Quincy than the 2 Adams family presidents here.
All right.
Okay? All right, case in point. All right, John Adams, right? As president, signed the infamous Alien and Sedition Acts into law, okay?
Shame on you.
Whereas Quincy, Okay, and an influential 1981 episode of Quincy helped lead to the passage of the Orphan Drug Act.
Check one for Quincy.
Exactly. John Quincy Adams struck a corrupt bargain with Henry Clay in 1824, although to be fair, it did help stem the tide of Andrew Jackson for a little bit, because we all know I'm not down with Andrew Jackson, because, specie circular, my butt. Sorry for the language there, but sometimes when these issues come up, it's hard to hold back. All right? But anyway, struck a corrupt bargain with Henry Clay in 1824. Quincy, however, fought corruption, injustice, and bureaucratic apathy with his faithful lab assistant Sam Fujiyama. All right?
I mean, so far, this is an
it's
open
pretty
shut
obvious,
case.
isn't it? Look, John Adams, first president to reside in the White House. Okay? Quincy, however, first TV corner to reside in a houseboat in Marina del Rey. So, I mean, the significance here is obvious. John Quincy Adams died in the speaker's room of the House of Representatives in 1848. Quincy, however, would have been there to ensure that there was no foul play involved in the death of John Quincy Adams in the speaker's room of the House of Representatives if he had been alive in 1848 and not fictional. But I think we can see where the pattern for this is going. I mean, the significance of Quincy. To be fair, these were important figures in American history. I mean, they did do some things. Amistad case, signing Declaration of Independence, a few things like that. But compared to
what have they done for us lately?
Exactly. Quincy is certainly more
lately?
Quran. I mean, all right, here we go again. Case in point, right? John Adams, all right? The third longest lived president. But Quincy, not only the longest lived member of the Odd Couple, but also the only remaining juror from 12 Angry Men. So there's two right there compared to this.
So making sure that I understand this correctly, Joe, you're saying that the historically significant but often overlooked town of Quincy, Massachusetts, southeast of Boston, can be revived by a decades-old television program that...
Something significant old. I mean, you know what? Shakespeare is centuries old. The Bible is millennia old. So does that make Quincy's 30 or so years all that bad? No.
No.
Seriously, Quincy, Massachusetts has got to recognize its connection with Quincy M.E. starring Jack Klugman. If they rededicate the town to Jack Klugman, they put like all sorts of Quincy-themed exhibits there. People are coming from all over the country. You make Quincy the Quincy capital of America, and then maybe some of the businesses in Quincy Center won't be closing down and getting knocked down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's the only way you're going to revive Quincy, folks. It's not Jack Klugman, at least Dick Dale. You know?
Oh. What's the significance of Dick Dale?
He's from Quincy.
There you go. Dick Dale Drive is the new Quincy Shore Drive. Klugman Beach, the new Wollaston Beach. Just think about it. Start the petition. Thank you, Joe. Thank you for sharing these ideas with us
Rob, I was
today.
just kidding you if you're watching.
On Weymouth After Dark.
Give me a hug.
But
Rob, come out here right now and give me a hug. Rob, come out here right now and give me a hug.
now, we have a very special information for you, though, today, folks. We have our Weymouth After Dark poll. As usual, we have come here today to challenge you, to make you think, and to hear your voice, all right? You don't just hear Joe talking or myself talking. We want to hear you. So today's poll, we have two entities that we want you to consider between, all right? On the one hand, we have Skeletor. He's our first entity, evil Lord of Eternia. His opponent...
Evil Lord of Darkness, or whatever.
Michael Dukakis. Which one of these two entities do you vote for? Go to Weymouth After Dark at yesitstillhotmail.com and vote Skeletor versus Dukakis. We're going to register those votes. We're going to give you a result later on. So
if you're old enough to remember Skeletor, you might be old enough to remember Dukakis' '88 presidential bid.
And three-term governor of Massachusetts, I believe?
Was it 2 or 3? I don't remember. But either way, folks, you should remember these things if you're paying attention.
Folks.
And if you weren't, shame on you, Daddy.
Speaking of paying attention, folks, we have something very important to talk to you about. We have to talk to you about survival in the event of an attack. Now, we're going to have a guest coming
Civic
out in just a
defense,
second,
as it were.
who is a reptilian expert, amphibious expert. She is going to speak with us today about survival in the likely event of a reptile or amphibious attack to Weymouth. So, in just a moment, we're going to be bringing out Nicole with the Zoya, and she is going to give us a little presentation. We're going to ask her some questions. So, when she comes out here, and of course, you're welcome to call in as well if you have any questions regarding this. This is good information to watch and to hold on to. So I am glad to present us with our amphibious expert, Nicole, who will be joining us in just a second. And to black. And not to black. Here she comes. This is live and dangerous,
Here
folks.
she comes. Mrs.
Nicole?
America, isn't that the song?
Thank you for joining us. And Zoya, as we can see live in her hands.
Yeah.
And look at
Do they
this.
have like salmonella or one of them? Or?
Yeah. Only when they're near you.
That's great.
So
let's get a close up of me with this little with this animule we have right here.
with this
you know?
amphibious entity.
You know, tonight I dine on turtle soup. Remember that one with the shredder
yeah.
and all this? Oh, here we go.
All right.
Look, I have a turtle. Look at
Alright.
this.
Nicole,
I feel like
thank you
Super
for-
Mario.
thank you
except
for
I'm not, like,
joining us.
stepping on them and things.
tonight on Weymouth After Dark.
Thank you.
Thank you for bringing Zoya out with us. Let's start right to the point, all right? Amphibious creatures such as this tortoise. What kind of tortoise is it?
This is a Russian tortoise that is actually not at all from Russia. It is, in fact, a Central Asian tortoise.
Ah.
Well, you know, the USSR did expand into Central Asia, so
Wow.
that might be the reason for it.
Now,
It could be.
Yeah.
tortoises are famously long-lived. How old is Zoya?
Zoya is a little under 10 years old, we think. You can't actually tell exactly.
So Zoya wouldn't remember either Skeletor or Quincy. Well, she'd remember Quincy because he's everywhere.
Well, she really, really
No,
likes
yeah.
late night television, so I think she was pretty aware.
Any favorites?
Well, right now, you know, she's a little young, but she's really into the nanny.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Who isn't? Seriously,
Well,
because
I
that
don't-
Fran was a lot of woman.
You know, she likes the voice. Yeah.
How long can we expect Zoya to live?
Zoya will probably live to be 80, 90, almost 100.
There you go. That's a lifespan, actually in excess of the average lifespan for a person. But
Yes.
I have also heard of some species of tortoise.
Not for John Adams.
Oh, well, that's true. Third longest lived
Or
president.
Jack Klugman.
I've heard of some species of tortoise living 150, 170 years.
It's
Think
true.
about that. I think about in human terms how many generations that is. So that's really quite incredible. Tell me a little bit about Zoya's personality.
You know, Zoya's a little bit of a superstar.
Okay.
You know, she really likes the spotlight, as you can see. She likes to stick her head out a lot. You know, I think she's gotten a little Hollywood.
Really?
But, you know, she's really kind of getting back to her roots here with cable access. So she's excited to be on the show. She
Well,
did tell me earlier.
I'm glad to hear this.
I'm glad to hear that cable access can translate into Hollywood stardom.
Or vice versa.
Now, there is a little secret about Zoya that I've heard about, though. In addition to being, you know, a very cute and fun Russian tortoise, she is a little bit special as well. I mean, in different ways than you were talking about. I've heard that she's been exposed to certain radioactivities, and that she's actually, in fact, growing at a rate very much in excess of what a tortoise normally grows.
Is that gamma radiation?
Yes. She was,
Yeah.
in fact, half this size earlier.
So earlier today,
Yeah.
she was about half the size that she is right now.
Yes.
So she's doubled her size in a day.
So we're not really sure how she's going to get home. She won't fit in the car.
At that rate, by the time the leaves are falling, that tortoise is probably going to be the size of a rhinoceros.
Absolutely.
By the new year, that tortoise will be the size of a blue whale.
This is true.
If that continues.
Well, she's going to have to go back to Hollywood then. Because, you know, the tortoise like that is going to, all the media outlets are going to want a piece of that.
She's going to want a piece of all the media outlets.
Well, that's true. Yeah. I
Does she
mean,
have any representation?
I'm her representation.
I gotta say, actually, if we're speaking of, it's in my contract. I'm not actually supposed to do anything with kids or animals, you know, or women with kids, you know, because
What about
I mean,
women
we can
with
go out and all that, but it's only gonna reach a certain level. Because I gotta be free, man. I gotta
Nicole.
be free.
Yes.
Zoya's munching away. You can't see it right now, but she's munching. I mean, with that appetite growing twice
Yeah.
her body size in a single day.
I thought that was supposed to be slow, because she's running all over the floor there.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the miracle of
Maybe it's a
nature.
gamma.
The giant squid starts out smaller than my small fingernail here in its larval form, and grows to be 60, maybe longer feet in length, right? The unimaginable miracles of nature. So this Russian tortoise that's been exposed to gamma radiation could be a challenge to the entire world soon.
I think she's actually representative of a new species of tortoise, of frog, of animals that you wouldn't consider a threat coming and taking over your Dunkin' Donuts, taking over.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned this, Nicole. Because
Is this
we
still
have,
like the LaRouche party, or are they infiltrating the
They don't
government?
sing, that's the difference.
Are they spies? How
No, no.
are they taking over?
She would prefer if you didn't discuss that right now.
I'm glad you mentioned this, Nicole, because we have a very special presentation for you. As I mentioned earlier, in a comprehensive study by the Nexus Institute, Weymouth was determined to be the 6th most likely town in the entire United States to be attacked by a giant amphibian. We are going to give you a live demonstration right now about what that might look like to prepare you for that unhoped for but likely event.
Virtuality. Making a
Yes.
deal with the devil.
So Nicole, Joe, all of you at home, come with us as we show you what will or could happen in the event that Weymouth were attacked by a monster. And I would take notes for this. This is to give you a flavor, a demonstration of what would happen if a giant amphibian were to attack the town of Weymouth.
Is that a
Right
scale
now-
model of Weymouth?
Yes, that's a scale model of Weymouth, and right now we can see that the Weymouth National Guard is being easily overpowered by Zoya,
It's being easily overpowered by Salmonella.
the radioactive tortoise right now is toying with the members of the Weymouth National Guard, which is not going to do much for their recruitment. As you can see, the town of Weymouth, can you imagine, the traffic is bad enough as it is. Can you imagine the traffic on Route 18 when there's an evacuation going on as that tortoise just picks away at the various aspects of our beloved community?
I hope she didn't attack BJ's warehouse, because I just got a new membership card, and I was hoping to take advantage of some of those, wholesale-sized jars of Miracle Whip.
Now, as you can see, this is only a demonstration, but this is a good flavor or a gauge for what would actually happen. So I would watch closely as we were responding. The tortoise might be slow moving, but in its wake, given its 170-ton weight approximately at that point, each step could also cause seismic movements that could break windows as far as Plymouth. So we can
Look at
see.
those jaws.
I think she's going after either that it's a tomato or a Dodge Charger. I can't really see. I hope she doesn't damage Kenny's Toyota Corolla.
That's a heck of a
Shouldn't have
car.
left it in that parking
He's got
lot.
the CE, right? We had the LE, or was it the other way
well,
around?
It's going to be a
But
pain.
that thing's been running forever. Seriously, that thing has been, and it gets it's 85% air, 15% gas.
No,
It gets good gas mileage to the.
Well, again, the least of our concerns right now, though, with this carnage going on.
Well, you'd want that car to get away from the giant turtle.
So we're noticing also that the tortoise seems to be
Pretty content.
content to find one spot. The
just
safest
kinda
place
get
to be
around.
might be indoors, actually, as we see
Yeah.
that this tortoise is attacking people.
If
and
only they had been
objects.
stationed a little further to the left, I think it could have saved the lives of those National Guardsmen.
Well,
Well,
unfortunately, the attention span of the tortoise is somewhat that of a young child with ADD. Focused for a few seconds, and any minute now, she could just turn on you.
Maybe do they have like some kind of tortoise
Adderall.
Adderall? Yeah,
It
that's
has a
it.
lot of negative
Yeah.
sides. She doesn't really, weight gain is an issue. She's in Hollywood.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I've had that Inderall stuff myself. Good for the blood pressure. It really. is.
stay indoors, lock your doors. That would be our advice here. This is a live demonstration. Later on, we're actually going to be submitting copies of this to a number of local law. Oh wait, now there seems to be a movement going on here.
Do you
Is
think
that sort of moving backwards?
Oh, they can
Yes.
move it
Look
in
at
many
this.
directions like
Movement,
that?
She
not
can
just forwards,
move
but laterally
in
as well.
multiple
Okay,
directions.
oh wait.
Can she fly?
Yes,
Like
there are
Gamera?
actual. What we've noticed is the development of rockets in her shell.
Oh, so she can poke her head and arms in the shell and shoot rockets out and fly like Gamera, the famous.
She's
Yeah,
checking to see if the
yes.
car has
Japanese
a current
monster.
inspection sticker.
Well,
I'm
I
not
think
sure.
she is a friend of the children.
Well, that's good.
Oh,
That's good.
my
I
goodness.
think the
I
first.
wouldn't want to
Oh,
do
there
that
goes the
car.
Charger.
Penny.
Look out.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why you want the Corolla, because
true,
you know
Toyotas,
it gets better
they
gas
last everything.
mileage. You just get out of there in that CE. Or,
Look at this absolute carnage.
there goes the
Look at
Weymouth
the-
Botanical Gardens.
That's
Um,
right.
Just like that, decades worth of work.
There goes the Arnold Arboretum if it was in Weymouth.
Yeah.
It's true.
So again, we're seeing a pattern here, though, that the giant radioactive tortoise, estimated to be as I said, the size of a blue whale by New Year's, is drawn mainly to vehicles. To greenery, and
maybe
to
that's why the
people.
National Guard was attacked with the camouflage. She mistook
true.
them for foliage.
Yes, and that one for a tomato.
Wear orange.
Sunburn.
Wear.
Yeah, it's like
wear-
hunting. Yeah, wear orange.
Notice. Wait. What color?
Stay
is the
away
roof
from
of those buildings
foliage.
Of Terra Gardens. What color is the roof of that building?
The orange.
Orange.
Orange seems to be a repellent for the giant radioactive tortoise. If we save even one life, then this broadcast was worth it. Wear orange, stay indoors, lock your doors, and try not to panic when this 170-ton beast is attacking the town of Weymouth.
It's like a Toraton.
I think it's good to note also it's very similar to a hurricane. You think the worst is over, you step outside, and sometimes it's just the carnage left behind.
Well, that's one of the biggest problems,
That
I think.
can really kill you.
People think that it's over. They go out to get a coffee or an iced coffee, maybe.
Yes.
And the next thing they know, their vehicle is suffering a similar fate to what that black car is suffering right now.
It's true.
As it's being torn literally to pieces.
Actually, isn't that orange the car that she was kicking around? So there could
It's-
be a flaw in the orange
this is
dynamic
true.
that's going on.
We're going to need to study this tape very closely.
Yeah.
And see what we can come up with as protection. But possibly wear orange, definitely stay indoors. And as
Don't hug a tree.
Nicole pointed out, don't assume it's over just because you don't hear any more carnage.
Wouldn't the best thing to do be just evacuate Weymouth?
But it needs to be
The
evacuated
The
in an
turtle's
orderly
easy to
fashion.
see, and easy to see coming even when they fly. But you can tell actually when the radioactive turtle is going to gain the powers of flight, because I think it starts to grow tusks.
It
slightly
does.
beforehand.
Yes. She's
it's-
actually had those
yeah.
removed. It was a
Okay, because
Yeah,
I know the
an
medical
aesthetic
term
thing.
for that is gamma-isis.
Well, Zoe actually looks quite a bit bigger than when we started this broadcast, so we might have a little bit of a problem on our hands because.
Yeah, but they're friend of children. That's another thing. Go near a preschool.
It's true.
Hide at a preschool or daycare center, because giant monster turtles are friends of children,
Friends
Okay.
of the children.
and they won't hurt kids.
We're going to need to stop this demonstration because I've heard that there's already been some complaints about Zoe eating things that she shouldn't here on the set, and her size is growing very rapidly. So we're going to stop for a moment. This is only a demonstration, folks. Do not panic. This is not an actual attack by a giant tortoise on Weymouth. This is what it
And
would
by the
look
time
like
you see
if there
this-
were an actual
Yeah,
attack.
and by the time you
looking at
see
me.
this, it may have been a rerun anyway, and it would have already happened. So
Only
you'd know.
a demonstration. Please, we don't want to cause a panic.
That's right.
War of the Worlds
Panic is-
based on this installment. So stay with us just a moment, folks, and we're going to give you some final thoughts. Remember, this is only a demonstration, but be prepared.
Like the Boy Scouts.
Folks, thank you for joining us back here at Weymouth After Dark. As you can see, Zoya is on the rampage. Remember, in the case of an attack, don't panic, stay indoors,
Wear
and
orange.
be prepared. I don't know about orange, it's not doing too well now. We'll have more studies available at WeymouthAfterDark at hotmail.com. The poll results, the winner of this poll, Skeletor defeating Michael Dukakis as our poll result winner.
Yeah, well, poor Dukakis. Doesn't matter how evil his opponent is, he can never win.
Folks, be prepared. I'd like to thank Nicole. I'd like to thank Joe. I'd like to thank all of you for joining us here on Weymouth After Dark.
All gloriously.
Provided that we're still safe here in Weymouth, we will see you again next week. Thank you very much. Be ready.